Hello and welcome to a bonus revlog. Say hello to Manny. I just got back my coursework and I will be filing it away shortly. But I got 50, dead on 50, which is the lowest possible form of a 2-2. Because a third is 40 to 49, a 2 is 50 to 59, 2-1 is 60 to 69, and then 70 plus is a first. Yeah. In all fairness, though, I did make a lot of errors, small ones. The actual sonnet, because it's the poetry module, I think was a bit overly critical because I realize I'm not like a proper poet person. However, surely iambic pentameter, where there are 10 beats in a line, because the line is split up into 5 feet and a foot is 2 syllables long and is stressed and unstressed or unstressed and stressed. I think it's unstressed and stressed, but you can swap it in the first line for the first foot or something like that. Surely the stress is where you put it, right? So if a word normally is stressed in one place, if you are writing the thing out and you can just put the stress in the other part of the word, just like rather than saying happy, you could say happy, or I don't know, what's another word which has a stress in a certain location that I can easily pinpoint. Pinpoint. There we go. The stress, I think, is in pinpoint. But it could be in point. You could say pinpoint rather than pinpoint. See the slight difference? You could do that. So surely you don't have to aim your stresses in your writing of the line in order to have them matched. And I think that's something I'm going to have to write in my commentary for my next piece, because it is also in iambic pentameter, and I feel as though I shouldn't have to aim my stresses. But yeah, I do need to, over the course of today and tomorrow, put together my base presentation for it. Just sort of like my, hi, this is my idea, can I do this? And because I've got the meeting on Monday, so I think I will probably end up in that meeting on Monday asking about aimed stresses, and whether I can utilize that. But yeah, I didn't quote any reference points even, and in all fairness, that's because I didn't really understand. Oh gosh, sorry, Charles. I'll turn it back on in a minute. I didn't understand the readings, because the readings, there are many of them to start with. Yeah. So we have literary criticism, Plato to Dryden, all of those things. But let's ignore those, and ignore the couple books that I got from the library, and go for the readings that were given to us for week 1. Bear in mind, I wasn't there for the seminar for week 1. So, our week 1 readings have such fun things as English Renaissance Literary Criticism by Brian Vickers, edited by Brian Vickers, published by the Clarendon Press, Oxford. Right? By Roger Ascham, or Ascham, on imitation in 1570. And it starts off with just a talk about the dude, and then so we get on to imitatio. Imitation is a faculty to express lively and perfectly that example which ye go about to follow, and of itself it is large and wide, for all the works of nature in a manner be examples for art to follow. Right? But to our purpose all languages, both learned and mother tongues, begotten, and gotten only by imitation. For as ye use to hear, so ye learn to speak. If ye hear no other, ye speak not yourself, and whom ye only hear of them, ye only learn. Cool. That doesn't make much sense. Well, it makes sense, but it's not. I mean, technically it's not true, because the first person to have ever spoken wouldn't have heard anyone else speak, would they? But let's go on. And therefore, if ye would speak as the best and wisest do, ye must be conversant where the best and wisest are. But if you be born or brought up in a rude country, ye shall not choose but speak rudely. The rudest man of all knoweth this to be true. So the rudest man of all knoweth this to be true, do they? You don't choose to speak rudely, but it's just how you're brought up. That's fair enough. Yet nevertheless, the rudeness of common and mother tongues is no bar for wise speaking. For in the rudest country, the most barbarous mother tongue, many be found that can speak very wisely, but in the Greek and Latin tongue, the only two learned tongues which be kept not in common talk, but in private books, we find always wisdom and eloquence, good matter and good utterance, never or seldom asunder. And that has a reference point. It's got a little one. The little one at the bottom says, for the paired concepts sapientia et eloquentia, wisdom and eloquence, cf. Cicero Deor 1. Then it's got a bunch of number references. For after all the foundation of eloquence, as of everything else, is wisdom. Then Asham here draws on the ancient linguistic categories of matter, res, thought or subject matter, and words, verba, in which priority was traditionally given to the thoughts expressed. He takes the orthodox position that if the subject matter is not sound, then the language cannot possibly be good. So effectively what he's saying is, whilst people can speak wisdom in normal non-Latin or Greek words and language, in Latin and Greek, all words are eloquent, which is bollocks, by the way. It may sound nice, but that doesn't mean that they are wise. Anyway, on to the next part. I know I skipped a little bit, but let's go. Ye know not what hurt ye do to learning, that care not for words, but for matter. 3. Echoing Cicero's complaint, where sophists had taught both philosophy and rhetoric. Socrates separated the sciences of the wise, thinking, elegant, speaking, though in reality they are both closely linked together, so creating the undoubtedly absurd and profitable reprehensible severance between the tongue and the brain, leading us to having one set of professors to teach us to think and another to teach us to speak. But Ashram's setting of verba above res defies the accepted priority. Cool. That's a nice philosophy and all. What's it have to do with imitation? Meh? So, if we skip from here to here, so a whole page, but to return to imitation again, there be 3 kinds of it in matters of learning. The whole doctrine of comedies and tragedies is a perfect imitation or fair lively painted picture of the life of every degree of man. Of this imitation writeth Plato at large in 3 De Republica 6, which is part of the Republic, obviously. But it doth not much belong at this time to our purpose. The second kind of imitation is to follow for learning of tongues and sciences the best authors. Here riseth amongst proud and envious wits a great controversy, whether one or many are to be followed, and if one, who is that one? Seneca, Cicero, Sallust, or Caesar, and so forth in Greek and Latin. The third kind of imitation belongeth to the second, as, when you be determined whether you will follow one or more, to know perfectly and which way to follow that one, in what place, by what mean and order, by what tools and instruments ye shall do it, By what skill and judgment ye shall truly discern whether ye follow rightly or no. This imitatio is dissimilis materii similis tractatio, and also similis materii dissimilis tractatio as Virgil. Is that not the same, the exact same? Dissimilis materii similis tractatio, and also similis materii dissimilis tractatio. Yep. So they just said, I don't know Latin, but they just said it's one thing, but it's also that same thing. What? Maybe if I read on again. I've already read through this twice. As Virgil followed Homer, but the argument to the one was Ulysses, to the other was Aeneas. Tully persecuted Antony in the same weapons of eloquence that Demosthenes used before against Philip. Horace followed Pindar, but either of them his own argument and person, as the one hero king of Sicily, the other Augustus the emperor, and yet both for like respects, that is, for their courageous stoutness in war and just government in peace. One of the best arguments for right imitation we lack, and that is Menander, whom our Terence, as the matter required, in like argument in the same persons with equal eloquence, foot by foot did follow. Okay, right. Do you see what I mean? There's very little in here that actually tells us of what imitation is. There's a bit I've circled over here. But if a man would take this pain also when he hath laid two places of Homer and Virgil, or Demosthenes and Tully together, to teach plainly withal after this sort. Tully retaineth thus much of the matter, these sentences, these words. This and that he leaveth out, which he doth wittily to this end and purpose. This he addeth here, this he diminisheth there. This he ordereth thus, and placing that here, not there. This he altereth and changeth, either in property of words, in form of sentence, in substance of matter, or in one or other convenient circumstance of the author's present purpose. So, that, and if we go back to the beginning, and the bit that is, imitation is a faculty to express lively and perfectly that example which you go about to follow, those two bits together, I think, are what I'm going to have to quote. Cool. But we also have Virgil, with an English translation by H. Rushton Fairclough. Okay, we look at this then. We've got a bunch of poetry. Bunch more poetry. So this one is all the poetry for week 1, which I needn't read, due to the fact I don't need to go through the poetry. So this can go back in the folder. I need stuff to do with imitation. So we've got this as well. Francesco Petrarch, Letters on Familiar Matters, Rerum Familiarum Libri, Volume 3, Books XVII to XXIV, which I think is 17 to 24. So, there are any things in your letter, because these are all letters. This is to Giovanni Boccaccio, a defense against an accusation by envious people. And I'm just going to read the first paragraph. Bear in mind, this paragraph is over a page long. It's from here to here. And then I'm going to stop the vlog, because I just want to make a point of how little on imitation you get from this. There are many things in your letter needing no reply whatsoever, since we recently dealt with them in person. but I have chosen two that must not go unnoticed, and shall briefly give my thoughts on them. In the first place, you ask pardon, somewhat heatedly, for seeming to praise unduly a fellow countryman of ours, who is popular for his poetic style, and doubtless noble for his theme, and you beg pardon for this, as though I believed that your praise is for him, or for anyone else, that would detract from my personal glory. You assert that, whatever you say about him, if closely examined, redounds to my glory. You expressly add as justification for your praise that he was your first guide and the light for your youthful studies. This is a proper, grateful, accurate, and, to speak candidly, fitting acknowledgment, for if we owe everything to the creators of our bodies and much to our benefactors, what do we not owe to the parents and fashioners of our minds? How much more deserving of our gratitude are those who cultivated our minds than those who tended to our bodies, is realized by whoever has a just perspective on both, for he will recognize that one is an immortal gift and the other is a perishable and mortal one. Continue, therefore, not with my sufferance alone, but with my approval to honour and cherish that beacon of your intellect, who has afforded your great ardour and light for this pathway that you have been treading with giant steps toward a glorious goal. Raise high and sincere praise worthy alike of you and of him that torch long buffeted, and I would say wearied by the windy applause of the multitude. I have concurred with all the such praise, for he deserves such commendation, while you, as you say, feel obliged to perform this friendly office. I thus commend your poem of praise and join you with extolling him. Hence nothing in your apologetic letter disturbed me, except that I am still so little understood by you, whom I thought knew me so well. So then, I do not delight in the praises of outstanding men, and indeed do not join in glorifying them. Believe me, nothing is so foreign and no curse more unknown to me than envy. To show you how far removed I am from such a curse, I call God, who reads minds, to witness that scarcely anything in life distresses me more than seeing worthy men deprived of fame and reward. Not that I am complaining of the harm done to me, or am hoping for a gain, but I do deplore what is happening to public taste when I behold the reward owed to noble arts being given to obscene ones. I am aware that while the glory of deserving men stimulates the mind, an enthusiasm for such glory, true virtue, as philosophers like to say, is its own spur and its own reward, its own way and its own goal. Now that you have afforded me a theme that I would not have voluntarily chosen, I shall gladly dwell upon it so as to clarify for you and through you for others as an opinion that has been not only falsely, as Quintilian remarks of himself and Seneca, but insidiously and maliciously circulating about my opinion of this poet. Those who hate me say that I hate and despise him, trying to stir up the multitude against me, for he is extremely popular with them. This is a novel kind of perversity, showing a marvellous aptitude for hurting others. Let truth itself answer them on my behalf. One paragraph of this. There's, 10, 12, 15 pages here? Why? But thankfully, as I got 50 in total, is there anything that I've highlighted in this? As I got 50 total, You're kidding me. Really? There's a second title page. Of course there is. I'm going to separate these. In no way should they be together. It's bloody stupid is what it is. But yeah. Oh. This sucks so bad. Like, the readings are very boring. There's nothing that I've highlighted in this one either, so it's probably not much better. I will go through this one for a third time. Oh god. Yeah, I will go through that one for a third time. Oh, for God's sake. Apparently that water bottle is not heavy enough anymore, even though nothing's been taken out of it, and it was perfectly satisfactorily heavy until this point. But yeah, I will read through this one a third time. It's just bloody hell. But because I got 50, I only need to get a 30 to pass this module. Passing's my main goal. I would like to get a 2-1, which would mean I need to now get 70. So that's not going to happen. No 2-1 this module. I think I need to get 70 anyway. Because if we get 40 in each, that's a third. So 50 in one, 40 in the other would be also a third. 60 in one, take us to a 2-2. Yeah, so I need 70. So yeah, I'm going to put in time and effort and stuff, but not yet. I've got to do my exam prep and stuff first. I will reread this first, just to see if there is anything else to get from it, but I will only skim read it, circle some bits maybe, because I'm going to need quotes, because that's one of my things. I didn't do any quotes, and I need to do quotes. I also need to double space it. I didn't double space it. I needed bibliography. That's fine. I'm not sure how I'm going to reference these, because I'm not entirely sure whether it's got all the stuff in it, but I'll find out. I can ask on Monday, provided I get it done tomorrow, which means I need to finish my exam prep today, which is what I'm going to try and do, so I will catch you cats on the flip-flop. I hope you're having more productive days than me. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to this. Anyway, as I said, I'll catch you cats on the flip-flop.